Good evening and welcome back to Rails TV and Proctor High School at the Rail Yard for tonight's volleyball action featuring the Duluth East Greyhounds and your Proctor Rails. The Rails 9-1 coming into tonight's contest, having defeated last night the Duluth Denfeld Hunters 3-0. The Greyhounds coming in 1-5 after a loss last night to Ashland 3-1. And so the Rails looking to extend their hot start here tonight in homecoming week 2019. The Rails final home game till October 3rd. Interesting schedule this year with the Rails only having like 6 home games, I believe. So the majority of them here in the last week. And this is the last home game before a home game against Hermantown on October 3rd. The Rails again coming in 8-1. New QRF came out tonight. QRF is the formula used by the Section 2 seed teams, and the Rails number 16 in the QRF. Not sure how they went down from number 5 to 16 after some wins recently, but the formula is interesting based on who you play and strength of schedule, things like that. So the Rails had number 16 in the QRF out of 129 teams in the state of Minnesota in Class AA. The Greyhounds come in tonight 1-5, number 79 in the QRF in Class AAA, the biggest class in Minnesota volleyball. They're led by Emily Monahan, who leads the team in kills offensively. Setting her was Riley Stevens, and defensively Nicole Becks. Riley Thorson and Monahan lead the team defensively in digs and blocks respectively. The Rails tonight is a youth night, so here before the game we'll have a little pregame ceremony to recognize our youth volleyball players here at Proctor. And also tonight is fan appreciation night, so I believe during the game or even after the game there'll be some opportunities for fans to get out there on the floor and win some prizes. And so I'm going to limber up for that, get ready to go, see if I can win me some pizza or something, because I like pizza. So there's the horn, so the festivities will get underway here momentarily. And before they do, let's take a break and hear from one of our sponsors. We'll be right back.
You're going to get the best service possible.
You will find out that your life is going to be better because you can hear better.
I can hear again.
They're always here, willing to help their clients.
I knew that when it was time for my own, I would have not any problem coming to them.
The friendliness makes you feel welcome. The professionalism of the practice of audiology gives you confidence that you are in the right place.
Researched very well, and I chose Heritage Window and Door. They install the windows, take the old windows out. They had a good reputation. Plus, they had renewal by Anderson. My window consultant was Jerry, and he was so patient and kind, and he wasn't pushy about buying. I just did whatever I asked for. The installation team was Matt and Bill, and they were just fabulous. If I wasn't here, I would never have known they'd been here. It was perfect. Life's better at the lake, and it's even better with my new windows from Renewal by Anderson from Heritage Window and Door.
And welcome back to the Rail Yard. We're getting ready here for the national anthem, and Dexter Beal doing starting lineups. So there you have the starting lineups for tonight for the Greyhounds. It'll be Altmans, Thorson, Hanger, Monahan, Stevens, and Shields. Starting for the Rails will be Mia Heim, Sam Bogachnik, Peyton Rodberg, Gabby Jahola, Taylor Bradley, Caitlin Marnich, and Cameron Wright. Again, the Greyhounds coming in at 1-5. The Rails improved to 9-1 in last night's contest, defeating the Hunters 3-0. Won first set 25-17 in a back and forth set number 1. The set number 2 is 25-9. Set number 3, 25-14. So the Rails looking to repeat that and make quick work of the Greyhounds here tonight. In front of a pretty good crowd here tonight. Youth night always brings out a lot of fans, and then when you get candy to boot, the crowd should be into it tonight. So people still trying to get candy. While they do, let's hear our sponsors tonight: the Rails Endowment for Arts, Athletic, and Academic Development, Urban Community Club, Heritage Window and Doors, Tamarack Building Materials, Sammy's Pizza West Duluth, Lake Superior Office Solutions, Wittis Trailer Sales, Hearing Associates, which is now Audiology Concepts, ISD 704, Stream Dudes, and Robin Barb Schaller Foundation. Rails serve, and number 13 with the kill for the Greyhounds to open the scoring. That's Riley Stevens. And quickly the Greyhounds up 1-0. Number 1, Ayla Altman serving for the Greyhounds. Got to catch myself. I'm used to saying the Hunters from last night, so hopefully I don't make that mistake too many times. Altman serve. Himes to Jahola. Jahola sets across to Rodberg. Rodberg hits it through the block, and now Bradley tips it over. Himes to Jahola. Jahola back sets to Bogachnik. Bogachnik with the kill. Rails on the board, 1-1 as the Hammer puts it away. And into the game for the Rails, number 9, Aubrey Garner. And Rodberg serving for the Rails, 1-1 in set number 1. Quick set. And Bogachnik with the kill. And good block there. Nice job by Bradley and Garner getting up and blocking it. And the Rails up 2-1 now here early in set number 1. Last few meetings between these two teams, 2015 through 2017, the Greyhounds have controlled the Rails. However, last year the Rails defeat the Greyhounds 3-0 in Duluth East. Here's Jahola back sets to Bogachnik. Bogachnik will find space, and another kill for number 3. And the Rails take an early lead here in set number 1. Rodberg serving. And into the net, service error, so side out and point for the Greyhounds. And back to serve now for the Greyhounds will be Riley Panger. Panger's serve. Pass by Rodberg to Jahola. And Bogachnik, instead of winding up, tips it over the block. And point Rails. Maddie Walsh in the game for Bradley. She will serve. Marnich in for Himes. And for the Greyhounds, number 8, Natalie Getzman. And Walsh's serve into the net. Service there, side out and point for the Greyhounds. Bradley checks back in. Good crowd here tonight. Good student section on homecoming week. Long pass over the net, and that took everybody by surprise on the east side of the net, and falls for a point for the Rails. And now Bogachnik will serve. And she hits it in the net, so service errors for the Rails, giving the Greyhounds some easy points. And now back to serve is number 13, Riley Stevens for the Greyhounds. Himes pass to Jahola. Jahola back and sets to Rodberg in the back row. And that's through the hands of Stevens. And point and side out rails. Cameron Wright subs in for Garner, and she will serve 6-4 rails. Cameron Wright serve. Up to Stevens. Steven back sets. And blocked there. Marnich and Rodberg both got their hands up and return to sender and point rails. Cameron Wright serves. And Himes. Good hustle there by Jahola. Now Rodberg will just set it over and finds an open spot in the back row, so point rails. Cameron Wright serving. And that will be long, and that's a side out and point for the Greyhounds on another service error by the rails. And in the game for the Greyhounds will be Riley Panger. She will take Getzman's place, or Goatsman. Cameron Wright up to Jahola. Jahola sets Rodberg, who puts it away. Nice set, nice hit. Point rails. And back in the game comes Bradley. And back to serve will be Mia Himes. 9-5 rails, set one. And here's a 3-ball for the rails. Jahola sets to the middle. Good play there. And Rodberg swings and fires, and good block there by the Greyhounds. Again, set to the back row. East is there. Pagachnik set and kill by Rodberg. So early on, Rodberg and Pagachnik getting busy with those outside hits. And again, Gabby Jahola with the great sets, setting them up. Rails up 10-5 now here in set number one. Good serve there, and the ace by Mia Himes. And the Rails extend their lead, 11-5. Set to the outside. Good block there by Bradley. Taylor Bradley with the big block and point for the Rails. Gabby Jahola there as well. So the Rails sharp early on defensively as well. And it's 12-5 Rails with Himes still serving. Another back set. And good cross-court shot there. That was nicely done by Ayla Altman. And point Greyhounds and side out. Emily Monahan checks back in for the Greyhounds. Serving is Nicole Becks. Pagachnik pass to Jahola. Cross court to Rodberg, and it looked like it was tipped, and it was. And another kill for Rodberg. Now 13-6 Rails. Now Jahola serving for the Rails. Crowd chanting beast. Mia Himes pass up to Jahola, who back sets Pagachnik, and she hammers it home. Point Rails. And we're going to have our first timeout of the game. While we do, I want to say thank you to our student workers and producers. Caleb Lowry is on our scoreboard widget. Blake Herrick, Bernice Childers, and Carly Glass on our cameras, and Ted Kiefit, our producer, on site. And again, real quick, thank our sponsors: Rails Endowment for Arts, Athletic, and Academic Development, Irving Community Club, Heritage Window and Door, Tamarack Building Materials, Sammy's Pizza West Duluth, Lake Superior Office Solutions, Wittis Trailer Sales, Hearing Associates, now known as Audiology Concepts, ISD 704, Stream Dudes, and the Robin Barb Schaller Charitable Fund. And a reminder, it is homecoming week. Our next broadcast will be Thursday as a boys and girls soccer doubleheader against Cloquet, starting at 5:30 at Eggerdahl Field. Boys will play first. And then on Friday night, there'll be a homecoming football game featuring the Rails versus the Grand Rapids Thunderhawks, starting at 7 o'clock. Will be kickoff. And Gabby Jahol is still serving for the Rails, up 14-6 here in set number 1. Panger's hit, passed by Himes, and a good save there by the Rails off the block. Now a back set. Cameron Wright to Jahola, cross court to Rodberg. She tips it over. And that will be off the ceiling. So ground rules are it's out if it goes off the ceiling and over the net. So the Rails get the point, 15-6. Jahola still serving. Back row. Here's Pagachnik to Jahola. Back to Pagachnik off the block. Nice block there by Panger. And now Oltmans will serve for the Greyhounds. Good serve, and Cameron Wright unable to control that one and hits it out. So point Greyhounds. Great student section here tonight, and if you're home watching and have an opportunity to get to the game here, fan appreciation night after the game, prizes will be given away. And that pass a little too far for Jahola, and point Greyhounds. 15-9. Oltman still serving. Right to Jahola, cross court to Rodberg, and Rodberg, good dig there on the back row. And good save, but unable to get over. So Monahan unable to clear the net, and point Rails. Now Rodberg will serve with Garner coming in for Wright. And Rodberg serves. And that's off the pass attempt from the back row off of Oltman, and ace for Rodberg. And another hard serve by Rodberg, but this time the Greyhounds let it go and it goes out of bounds. So side out and point for Greyhounds. And now Panger will serve. Panger serve, pass by Hines. To Jahola, who back sets to Pagachnik. She's able to find the hole in the middle of the defense off the tip. And point Rails. Maddie Walsh back in for Bradley. And Getzman for the Greyhounds back in for Panger. And Walsh's serve. Unable to be controlled by the Greyhounds, and point Rails. 19-10 here in set 1. And Walsh's serve into the net. The Rails, again, many of the points that the Greyhounds have gotten tonight have been service errors into the net or long. Haven't really made the Greyhounds work too much for their points. Pass there by Rodberg, and they're going to call Jahola into the net on her set. Pass is a little long. Now Monahan will serve for the Greyhounds. Down 12-19 here in set number 1. Pagachnik up to Jahola. Jahola to Marnich. Marnich off the block. Point Rails. So we've seen now this game, Pagachnik, Rodberg, and now Marnich getting into the kill action. And now Pagachnik serves. Set, block. Good block there by Marnich. Another attempt, and Himes to Garner. And now 3-ball. Pagachnik will just get it over. And from the back row, that's Altman, and her hit is long, so point Rails again. And Pagachnik serves again. Another big block, that time by Marnich and Jahola. Point Rails. So far today, a lot of good blocks by the Rails. Some good overall defensive play. Tip, good save there. And now Jahola to Pagachnik. Pagachnik to the back row. Stevens sets. Good defense by Rodberg. Cross court to Garner. Garner's hit. Stevens again. And that will be a kill inbounds. That was Shields with the kill for the Greyhounds. To pull within 9 here, 22-13 in set number 1. Riley Stevens now serving. Marnich to Jahola. Jahola to back row to Pagachnik. Stevens set. And tip over the block, off the fingertips of Marnich, so point Greyhounds. (22-14) here, set number 1. Stevens serve. Pagachnik to Jahola. Jahola cross to Marnich. Marnich hammers it home off Stevens. Point Rails. Cameron Wright checks back in for Garner. And Cameron Wright will serve. Right serve out of bounds. Again, another service error for the Rails. So that's kind of been the story of the Rails this game in terms of giving up points. Riley Thorson now serving for the Greyhounds. Thorson serve dug out by Pagachnik to Jahola to Rodberg, and off the block, out of bounds. Point Rails. And set point here for the Rails with Mia Himes serving. Rails looking to close out the Greyhounds in game number 1. Stevens set cross court shot dug out by Rodberg. Jahola setting Pagachnik. And there you have Rails wins set number 1, 25-15. And with that, we'll take a break and be back here at the rail yard in a moment.
Trailer Sales, we sell all your hauling needs from tractor trailers to enclosed trailers, snowmobile trailers, and much more. Shop the largest selection.
Back to the rail yard here at Proctor High School. Rails leading 1-0 after a 25-15 set number 1 victory. And the Rails again coming in 9-1. right to Jahola. Jahola cross to Rodberg. Rodberg pounds it, but that'll go long out of bounds. So Greyhounds up to an early 3-0 lead here in set number 2. And that serve is into the net. Service there by Bex, and Rails will get a point and get the serve, and the beast, Gabby Jahola, back to serve for the Rails. Jahola's serve, unable to be handled, and that'll be point Rails. So Painter unable to pass that one and control it, so Jahola will serve again. Long pass right to Pagachnik, and she hammers it home. Now we're tied 3-3 in set number 2. And Jahola will serve again. I got like... Here's Stevens with the set, and tip is Monahan for the point for the Greyhounds. And they'll take the serve over again, and into the game will come Oltmans. She'll take the serve. And Cameron Wright pass to Jahola. Jahola cross court to Rodberg. Good dig in the back row by Bex. Back set to Pagachnik. She'll tip it across. Good save there by Stevens. And a block attempt by Bradley, and that will fall on the Rails side, and again give the point to the Greyhounds. And Oltmans will serve. Just clears the net. Here's Jahola setting Rodberg. Rodberg tips. Stevens cross court. Now Himes to Jahola. Jahola tips it over. Stevens saves it. Bex sets it. Good hit, good volley here. And Pagachnik with the hit, and Bex with a good save. Rodberg with the hit, good block. Now a battle at the net, and the Rails ultimately prevail on a long volley. And now Garner back in for Wright for the Rails, and Rodberg will be serving. Rodberg with the long hit. Again, another service here for the Rails. Good hard serves, just a little too long. And now Painter serves for the Greyhounds. Garner to Jahola. Now Garner from the back row. That's long. Point Greyhounds. So much like we saw on Thursday of last week against Marshall, game 2 seems to be difficult for the Rails. Maybe because they're away from the fans, I'm not sure, but here's Pagachnik. Good save there by Altman. Back to Pagachnik again, and Sam Pagachnik hammers it home. Good set there by Jahola. Caught the defense off guard with that back set. Now Walsh in the game for Bradley. She'll serve. Rails hoping to make a little run here. Now from the back row. And that's unable to be handled by the Rails. So Getzman is able to find a spot that troubles the Rails. Ashlyn Ring in for the Greyhounds. And that serve is out, so point Rails. And Bex checks back in for the Greyhounds. Pagachnik serves. Pass to Stevens. Stevens across court. That'll be hit over. Rodberg. And Jehola sets Garner, but she's unable to control it. And leaves now 3 for the Greyhounds. Here's Riley Stevens serving. Himes to Jehola. Back row is Pagachnik. Fires, wow. I don't know, that looked into me. But we're not down there. (10-6) Greyhounds here. Jehola now back sets to Garner. Garner off the fingers of Stevens. Point rails. Here's Cameron Wright checking in for the rails for Garner. And she will take the ball and serve. Pass to Stevens. Stevens sets ring. And now Rodberg back to Pagachnik, and that will fall off the block. Point rails. Rails now back within 2. And Wright serving. Stevens back sets. Off the block. Good save there by Himes. Now here's Pagachnik again from the back row. And again, that falls. So point rails. Rails pull back within 1 here. Panger checks back in for the Greyhounds. Right serve. Here's Stevens, sets ring, and that's in no man's land and falls to the ground. And point rails. Tied 10-10 now here in set number 2. Rails up 1-0 on the Greyhounds. Long hit or long pass and unable to be handled there by Stevens. So the Rails take the lead, 11-10. Cameron Wright still serving. Beck's pass to Stevens to ring. And Stevens knocks it out. Point rails. And Greyhounds getting frustrated a little bit here. Now Cameron Wright with the serve. Stevens tips it over, and that's going to find the gap in the Rails defense, and that'll be point Greyhounds. So good job there by Stevens catching the defense off guard. Cameron Wright, pass to Jehola. Good hustle there by Jehola. 3 ball by Rodberg gets over. And off the block of Marnich, it falls to the floor and point Greyhounds. Thorson's serve is long, and that'll be a service error by the Greyhounds and point Rails. Mia Himes back in for the Rails, or Mia Himes serving, I should say. Beck's pass off target, falls to the floor, and point Rails. And hit across court, goes out of bounds. That was Panger's hit from the side, and the Greyhounds will take a timeout. Reminder, folks, if you have not done so already, get your tickets for the fall tasting event for the Rails Endowment for Arts, Athletic, and Academic Development. That'll be taking place on October 10th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Duluth Depot. A great event where local vendors will be there showcasing their food items for your tasting pleasure. I can tell you from being there the last couple years, you don't go home hungry. 4 to 7 p.m. Tickets are $25 a piece. You can contact your Reed board members for a ticket. So I'm looking forward to that event again. Once again, the Rails number 16 in the QRF in the state of Minnesota in AA out of 129 teams. Looking good in terms of seeding for section play. Up 1-0 tonight against the Greyhounds. And an error by the Greyhounds again gives the Rails a point and a 4-point lead here in the second set. Stevens sets ring with the hit off of Himes, and that goes out of bounds. Point Greyhounds. Ring is deceptive. She goes up and has a pretty good whip on that and caught Himes off guard. And now Beck's serving. Jahola sets Bradley. Bradley gets it over. Stevens. Good save there, and that good volley here by both teams. Over to Rodberg. Rodberg off the fingertips. And good save by the Greyhounds. Jahola back to Pagachnik, and a block and saved by the Greyhounds. And again, the Rails. Jahola will set Rodberg. Rodberg hammers it home. Point Rails. We knew it was just a matter of time before one of our few big hitters here, Rodberg or Pagachnik, would find a gap. Off the great sets by Jahola. Now Gabby Jahola will serve. 4-point lead for the Rails, set number 2. From the back row, and that'll be point Rails. That was Thorson trying to get it over. And 18-13 now Rails. Stevens sets Panger. Panger hits it into the net. And point Rails. Back in the game for the Greyhounds is Getzman. She'll take Panger's place. Jahola still serving. Becks to Stevens. Stevens sets. And that is Helland with the kill for the Greyhounds. Now Oltman's back in for the Greyhounds for Helland, and she will serve. Cameron Wright pass to Rodberg, and now Wright able to get it over. And they're going to give the Rails the point. Ooh, and they're going to call a replay on that one. And official error on that one, blew the whistle. So they'll replay the point. Oltman still serving. Jahola set across to Rodberg. A little out of her reach. And she'll get the kill. Point Rails. 20-14 now Rails lead. Here's Garner in for Wright. Rodberg back to serve. Rodberg struggled a little bit tonight with her serves, hitting out of the back end. See if she can get them to fall. And once again, that'll go out of bounds. So a service error for Rodberg, and it's now 20-15 here in set number 2. Rails won set number 1, 25-15. Rodberg to Jahola. Jahola back sets to Pagachnik, who tips it, and that falls, and point Rails. Marnich and Walsh check back in. Maddie Walsh will serve. And Walsh's serve. again goes into the net. She struggled with that tonight a little bit. So she'll check back out. Bradley will check in. And Mia Himes takes her place. So Manahan serving. Jahola sets Marnich. Marnich gets the kill cross court. So Pagashnik will serve 22-16. Bex up to Stevens, who sets ring, and she's able to find a hole in the Rails defense and get the point for the Greyhounds. And Helen will check back in for the Greyhounds. Stevens to serve. And Pagachnik to Jahola to Marnich. And she'll find space. Cross court again. Point Rails. And Cameron Wright checks back in for Garner. Cameron Wright serving. Bex to Stevens. Stevens cross. Big hit, big dig there by Cameron Wright. Here's Rodberg cross court to Bex to Stevens. Cross court set. Rodberg back to Pagachnik. She'll tip it over and that'll fall. Point Rails. And on your feet again, folks. And the Rails up 24-17. Set number 2, set point. Pagachnik, Jahola, Marnich. Good save there by Bex. Cameron Wright up to Jahola. Jahola cross to Rodberg. Rodberg hammers it home off Stevens. That's the set for the Rails, 25-17. The Rails up 2-0 here at the rail yard. And we'll take a break and be back just after these messages. Marnich also getting a few kills. Once again, as you saw in the graphic, our next broadcast will be Thursday night from Agardal Field. Rails soccer boys will take on the Cloquet Lumberjacks at 5:30. The girls will take on the Lumberjacks at 7:30 right here on Rails TV. And then Friday nights, Proctor football versus Grand Rapids Thunderhawks in the homecoming game 2019, starting at 7 o'clock from Ingerdoll Field. Starting game 3 for the Rails will be Jehola, Wright, Himes, Pagachnik, Bradley, and Rodberg. Also a reminder for Rails students, tomorrow night, 7:30 to 9:30 is our homecoming bonfire down at Ingerdoll Field. Rails volleyball will next be in action on Thursday night in Ashland. Ashland coming off last night's victory over the Duluth East Greyhounds, 3-1. And here we go. Gabby Jehola getting ready to serve to start game number 3. Jehola's serve. Stevens. 3-ball gets over the net. Here's Jehola's set to Pagachnik. And they're saying that'll be 4 hits. They're saying it didn't hit the block. And again, the Greyhounds jump ahead to start the set. So Oltmans now will serve. And Himes to Jehola, cross court set to Rodberg. Rodberg off the block, point Rails. So Garner checks in for Cameron Wright. Back to serve will be Rodberg again. Rodberg with quite a few service errors tonight. Long serves out of bounds. We'll see again if she can fix that. And this time it is in, and Stevens will set. Pagachnik. That'll find space and point Greyhounds. So Panger back to serve for the Greyhounds. Good serve, that's off Himes, and that'll go out of bounds. Into the student section. And point Greyhounds. Himes up to Jehola. Jehola tries to set Bradley. And 3-ball will be over the net here. Pass from Himes. Back set to Pagachnik. Pagachnik off of Bex. Point Rails. Another kill for Pagachnik. And Marnich checks in for Himes. Off the shoulder of Bex, as you see on the replay. Now Bradley serve. And Bex gets it over. Here's Rodberg up to Jehola. And again, the hammer puts it home. Bradley still serving. Tied now 3-3 in set number 3. Rodberg, Jehola, good hustle getting there. Now Garner will hit it over. Stevens with the set, block. And Marnich with the block. Point Rails. 4-3 Rails here in set number 3. Nice job there by Jehola. And this one's hit out of bounds right at our camera. Point Rails. Rails up 5-3, set number 3 here with Taylor Bradley serving. Bex up to Stevens. Rodberg. And they're going to call a double hit there on Rodberg. On that pass, now Himes will check back in for Bradley. And number 9 for the Greyhounds, Tegan Flynn serving. Here's Marnich. Good dig there by Flynn. And the block there by Pagachnik, and Marnich sends it back to center, and point Rails. Now Pagachnik goes back to serve. Altman tries to get it over into the net. Point Rails. Now the student section back on their feet here. Stevens tips it over. Good set there. Here's Jahola. She returns it same way. And another block by Marnich. Oh no, they're saying it was not a block. Instead it was in the net, so four hits was the call. Point Rails. And here is the hammer, Sam Pagachnik serving. Stevens back sets Ring. Ring tries to tip it, but instead it's knocked away by Marnich, and point Rails. Pagachnik serve. Stevens again with the set, and this time Thorson's hit goes into the net. And back in for the Greyhounds is Getzman. And Pagachnik serving. 10-4 Rails lead. Good serve by Pagachnik, but good hit by Bex. Getting it back over. Here's Jahola with the set to the back row. Over to Ring. Ring through the block. Point Greyhounds. Ashlyn Ring through the block of Garner and Marnich. Tough to do, but found the floor. And now Stevens with the serve. And she has the service there into the net. Point Rails, 11-5. And Cameron Wright will check in and take the serve. Stevens back sets, and that'll be 4 hits, and point Rails. Here's Stevens to Ring. Ring. Cameron Wright pass up to Jahola. Here's Rodberg. Good block there by Ring. Rodberg again, and this time they'll call it 4 hits. Didn't quite get it over the net. 12-6 now. Cameron Wright pass up to Jahola to Marnich. Marnich slams it home off the defense. Point Rails. Mia Heim serving. Good serve there, and 3-ball here. Bex will just get it over. Pagachnik up to Jahola. Jahola cross court to Rodberg. Good save there. Now the 3-ball. Here's Pagachnik to Jahola to Rodberg again. This time she's able to hammer it home. Point Rails. Evelyn Youngquist in for the Greyhounds. And Heim still serving. 14-6 Rails here in set number 3. Heim's good pass to Jahola. Jahola backs to Pagachnik in the back row. And great dig there. That was nicely done by Getzman, but no one home to catch the pass. Point Rails. Pagachnik pass to Jahola. Jahola cross to Rodberg again. Rodberg again with the kill. Point Rails. 10-point lead now for the Rails in set number 3, 16-6. Looking to send the folks home happy here tonight with a 3-game sweep. Time serve. Set across. Good save there by Pagachnik. Here's Rodberg again. Nice dig there by Bex. Pangers. Nice job there by Rodberg. And Himes hits it out of bounds. Point Greyhounds. And now Bex will serve for the Greyhounds, down 9, 16-7. Jahola to Bradley. Bradley. Now a 3-ball. This will be Getzman. Pagachnik from the back row into the net. Point Greyhounds. The Rails looking to get something going here. Beck serve. Cameron Wright pass to Jahola. Jahola across to Rodberg again. And off the block. And out of bounds. So point Rails. One way to do it. Hit it right into the block. Out of bounds. So the lead is back to 9 here in set number 3. And Gabby Jahola's serve. Panger. Cameron Wright. Jahola. Pagachnik. Point Rails. How you draw it up, right? That's how it should be done. Good passing, good setting, good hitting. And the Rails now back to a 10-point lead with Jahola serving. And it looked like that one was tipped, but they'll say it was not, so out of bounds on the serve. Holtzman checking in for the Greyhounds. She will serve. Again, the Greyhounds down 9. Holtzman serve. Himes up to Jahola. Jahola across court to Rodberg. Winds and fires. Point Rails. It's been the story all night. Rodberg, Pagachnik, Marnich. Great hitting tonight off of sets by Jahola. And good passing from the back row. Consistency is key in a 10-point lead again for the Rails. Rodberg serve. Nice serve. Good job of getting it back over by the Greyhounds. Back set to Pagachnik. Another chance for the Greyhounds. Nicely done. And pass too far into the net. Joel unable to handle it. Point Greyhounds. Himes, Jahola, Pagachnik. Point Rails. I feel like I'm repeating myself. It's Pagachnik, Rodberg, Marnich showing front row hitting. So 10-point lead again for the Rails. Here's Bradley serving. Rodberg up to Jahola to Pagachnik. 2 in a row for Sam Pagachnik with the kills. 21-10 lead for the Rails. Bradley serve. Good pass, good set. Pagachnik to Jahola to Garner. And they're going to call Garner hitting the net on the follow through. So point Greyhounds. So Himes checks back in, as does Ring for the Greyhounds. And the serve off of Himes out of bounds, so point Greyhounds. Now 21-12 here in set number 3. Rails up 2-0, looking to close out the 3-game sweep here tonight against the Greyhounds. Rodberg from the back row. And good save there, and they're going to say because it hits the ceiling, that's out. So again, a 10-point lead for the Rails. It's Pagachnik serving. Bex checks back in for the Greyhounds. And Pagachnik's serve goes into the net. Helen checks in for Oltman. Himes to Jahola. Good hustle there by Jahola. Rodberg able to tip it over. And miscommunication by the Rails as Getzman's hit falls uncontested. And point Greyhounds. And serves there by the Greyhounds. Point Rails. 23-14 here in set number 3. Cameron Wright now serving with the Rails needing 2 to close out the Greyhounds here tonight. Right serve. Set. Getzman with the hit. Jahola across to Rodberg. Off the ceiling, and that is saved. Nice job by the Greyhounds. Now Pagachnik from the back row. And off hanger, and that falls. So on your feet. Set point, game point, match point here, 24-14. Rails looking to close out the Greyhounds. 3-0. Right. Here's a set. Getzman. Rodberg. There it is. Rails victorious here again tonight. So far perfect at home at 3-0. Take that back, 4-0. The Rails are at home here, and they've improved to 10-1 on the season. Rails with game 1 win 25-15, game 2 25-17, game 3 25-14, and a 3-0 sweep of the Greyhounds. And again, led by Sam Pagachnik, Peyton Rodberg, Caitlin Marnich, and good back row passing by the rest of the crew. Good setting by Gabby Jahola. And before we sign off, I want to again thank our sponsors, Rails Endowment for Arts, Athletic, and Academic Development, Urban Community Club, Heritage Window and Door, Tamarack Building Materials, Sammy's Pizza West Duluth, Lake Superior Office Solutions, Wittis Trailer Sales, Hearing Associates, now known as Audiology Concepts, ISD 704, Stream Dude, Bob and Barb Schaller Charitable Fund. And I want to also thank our student workers here tonight and our people who made this broadcast possible. Caleb Lowry on our scoreboard, Blake Herrick, Bernice Childers, Carly Gloss on cameras, and Ted Keefen on the production. And fans on the court right now getting ready for the fan appreciation prizes. Again, our next broadcast here on Rails TV will be on Thursday, 5:30 boys soccer against Cloquet, 7:30 girls soccer versus Cloquet, and then also Friday night we'll have Rails football on Rails TV kickoff at 7 o'clock. So for our broadcast crew on Rails TV and all of our sponsors, I'm Tim Roweeder. Have a great night. Rails win 3-0.